Hi and welcome to the book club. Today I'm going to share 5 book recommendations. These books are some of the best books that I've read this year and the reasons why you should probably put them in your cart with your next book order. So first out we have the top 5 regrets of the dying. This book is written by Bronnie, Ware, who used to work as a caretaker for the dying. And in this work, working with people on their last days of their lives, she found some commonalities in the type of regrets they had on their deathbed. So the book has one chapter for each regret, and you also hear the stories about the people behind those regrets, which makes it very personal. But it's also a memoir of Bronnie's life and how she learned from these people to be able to live a life that was more true to herself. It's a super powerful story, and it made it right up to my great reads list, great books list, which you can check out. I have it in the description. This is a super powerful book. Then we have this one. This is also not an easy topic. Alexandr Solzhenitsyn's epic book. This is the abridged version. It's 500 pages almost, where it's a literary investigation in how the Gulag system worked in Soviet Russia. He was a prisoner himself. He fought for the Soviets in war, but then he was imprisoned and he went to all these labor camps, and this is his account for how the systems work, and he's trying to figure out like how could this happen. This whole thing, he talks about motorbikes. It starts with how people got arrested, the investigations and the torture that people went through, the travels to prison and then to labor camp, the whole organization, all the different roles within the camp, both with the prisoners and the people who were working in the prisons. It lays out everything, and it's a very, very interesting story. It's not an easy read, it's really hard. Hi Hanna, come. I've got a little guest here. And then, kind of a similar theme, different ideology. Man's Search for Meaning by Viktor Frankl. I just reread this book because I'm working on this great books list, which is a list where I compiled the most powerful and best books that I've ever read. Out of hundreds of books, these are like the top books that I've encountered, and this was on that list, but I wanted to make sure that it really had a place there, and it had. It's a very short book, much shorter than Gulag Archipelago. It's also about the prison camp from one of the Holocaust camps, the concentration camp. And Viktor E. Frankl, he's a psychotherapist. He has his own style of psychotherapy called, what's it called? Logotherapy, I think, which is based on meaning. And it tries to get into like how can people survive these hellish camps? How can people find meaning, the meaning to go on in a situation as dire as those of the Nazi concentration camp? It's a super powerful read. It's totally incredible. You need to read it. It's just one of those books that I think should be not voluntary, the opposite, mandatory to read in schools. And then on a slightly different note, we have Wright, Why Buddhism is True. This book takes a look at Buddhism through a lens of evolutionary psychology. It takes a scientific look at the teachings of the Buddha, and it's super interesting. It talks about illusion or delusion and how it's everywhere and how we can gain a perspective and look at the world more clearly, actually. And also how evolution does not want us to be happy. Right? It wants us to put our genes forward. It wants us to reproduce. It's a super interesting book, and you should definitely check it out. I also have a review up on it if you want to get some more details. And last but not least, we have a little bit of a totalitarian theme going on, but this book was absolutely fantastic. The True Believer by Hoffer. Thoughts on the nature of mass movements. It talks about mass movements, religious, ideological movements, and tries to break them apart into components. What are the prerequisites for a mass movement? Who are the players? What are the different phases of a mass movement? This book is absolutely amazing. Probably top 2, top 3 this year. It went right up on my great books list as well, and I have a full review coming up on that once I get my place in order. The reason I'm sitting here among a bunch of boxes is because I just moved and we're just packing up, so I don't know when I have a proper setup to do videos again, but that won't stop me because I've done 50-60 videos now, not missed a single week, so I don't want to miss one. That's why I'm sitting in this setting. So those are a couple of books that you definitely should check out. I also have reviews coming up on The Courage to Be Disliked. This is another book that was really cool, that introduced me to Adlerian psychology, which also led me to read this other book, Understanding Human Nature, by Adler himself. What else? I'm reading this one, I Am Dynamite, A Life of Friedrich Nietzsche, an excellent biography. And the bitter man himself, Arthur Schopenhauer, on the suffering of the world. A lot of suffering going on in my reading right now, I don't know why. I'm also reading this one, Ravenous, Otto Warburg, the Nazis, and the search for the cancer diet connection. This is a biography of a German scientist who dabbled with cancer research, not dabbled, he was an expert at it, and I haven't gone through it, all of it, but it also talks about the connection between cancer and diet, and it's super good so far. This guy is kind of hilarious. He's like a Nazist, he's a gay Jewish man working for the Nazi regime. It's kind of humorous at the same time as it's very well researched, so there's gonna be a lot of talk about that as well. Hit the subscribe button to get all these reviews, right? And yeah, welcome back to the Book Lab every Thursday. We will bring you more reviews on the topics of psychology, philosophy, human nature, and human potential every week. So until then, you're out.